Dear finance professionals and students, welcome to podcast of FCA Deepak Rao, a practicing chartered accountant. Weekly Digest for week 3 of June 2026. Tehran and the United States are in talks over a draft memorandum. This agreement could lead to the immediate reopening of the Strait of Hormuz for all commercial ships. Iran would also dilute its enriched uranium stockpile within 60 days. In return, the US would lift oil sanctions and its naval blockade of Iranian ports. Indian staffing companies are actively expanding their global reach. They are tapping into international talent shortages across sectors like healthcare, engineering, and technology. This strategic move aims to diversify revenue and enhance profit margins. Firms are focusing on regions like Southeast Asia, the US, and Europe. This expansion is driven by client demand and the growth of global capability centers. The government has notified its decision to make it easier for residents outside the country, including foreigners and overseas entities, to invest in listed Indian stocks by amending the Foreign Exchange Management Act rules. It has permitted persons resident outside India to invest through the portfolio investment scheme that was earlier extended only to non-resident Indians and overseas citizens of India, as per a notification by the Department of Economic Affairs. The Foreign Exchange Management Non-Debt Instruments 3rd Amendment Rules 2026 take immediate effect. As per the notification, an individual, person resident outside India, can now invest up to 10% in any company under the scheme against 5% earlier, with an overall investment cap for all these individuals lifted to 24% from 10%. Reebok sales have more than doubled in India over the last 3 years following its acquisition by an Aditya Birla Group firm. The brand plans to aggressively expand its network by adding 40 to 50 stores annually, targeting untapped market opportunities across metro and smaller towns. This growth is fueled by strong same-store sales and new product launches. India's electronics sector is poised for significant growth, potentially becoming a manufacturing and export powerhouse. Free trade agreements are expected to boost this sector alongside engineering and machinery and pharmaceuticals. While some sectors face challenges, the overall outlook for India's export strategy is positive, driven by global trade integration and strategic policy shifts. India's market regulator SEBI is creating rules for artificial intelligence in financial markets. SEBI Chief Tuhin Kanta Pandey announced this plan. AI can help with surveillance and fraud detection. However, it also poses risks like bias and data protection issues. SEBI will issue guidelines for responsible AI use. The regulator will also consider international recommendations. Vedanta's long-awaited demerger culminated with the listing of 4 newly spun-off businesses, triggering a sharp market re-rating and unlocking about Rs 63,500 crore in shareholder value. Since the demerger's April 29 ex-date, investors have gained roughly 22.5%, with the combined market capitalization of the 5 standalone entities rising from Rs 3.02 lakh crore to Rs 3.66 lakh crore. India's jewelry sector anticipates strong growth. Weddings and festivals are driving demand even with high gold prices. Retailers report good revenue and customer interest. This trend is expected to continue into the next quarter. However, a recent duty hike may cause a temporary slowdown. Consumers are adapting by choosing lighter jewelry and investing in gold bars and coins. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman highlighted significant economic challenges. These include fluctuating foreign exchange and crude oil prices. Rising fertilizer costs are also a concern. The nation anticipates a potentially weaker monsoon this year. The government is actively preparing for this scenario. Adequate buffer stocks are being maintained to ensure supply stability. HUDCO aims to secure $1 billion in foreign debt. This will be achieved through the Reserve Bank of India's concessional forex swap facility. The company is engaging with international entities for this fundraising. This move supports HUDCO's lending and business growth requirements for the current financial year. Anil Agarwal's Vedanta Resources Limited is set to refinance $5.2 billion of US dollar bonds and loans as it seeks to lower borrowing costs following recent credit rating upgrades. The refinancing will cover $3.6 billion of bonds maturing between 2028 and 2033 and $1.6 billion of loans due from 2028 onward. The UK-based conglomerate has hired 8 banks including Barclays plc, Citigroup Inc., Deutsche Bank and JP Morgan Chase & Co. for the deal. India's office property market is set for strong growth. Leasing activity is expected to reach 85 to 90 million square feet by 2026-27. Global capability centers and flexible workspaces will drive this expansion. Vacancy rates will remain stable and rentals are predicted to increase. Geopolitical tensions may impact costs but not immediate demand. Japanese power giant Chubu Electric is set to invest around $150 million in Indian renewable energy firm Continuum Green Energy. This deal will give Chubu a significant stake in Continuum, a company focused on wind, solar and hybrid power of businesses. The acquisition highlights Chubu's growing interest in India's clean energy sector. Young consumers are now driving major decisions at established food companies. Gen Z and millennials are influencing product development, acquisitions and marketing strategies. These young shoppers are health conscious, digitally savvy and demand transparency. Their preferences are reshaping the entire packaged foods industry in India. Reliance Jio Infocom is days away from filing draft papers for its $4 billion IPO, potentially before Mukesh Ambani's AGM address. This offering aims to be one of India's largest, with funds going to Jio for expansion rather than existing shareholders. The move comes as India's primary market activity has slowed. Leading global private equity firms are in the running to acquire a substantial minority stake in Cloud9, India's premier maternity and pediatric hospital chain. The deal is expected to value the company at approximately $1.2 billion. This strategic move will see existing investor True North exit, while other shareholders are likely to retain their positions. Ola Electric and its founder Bhavesh Agarwal have approached SEBI to settle allegations of disseminating false information to inflate stock prices. The company seeks an amicable closure to proceedings concerning misleading claims on service network expansion and sales performance following a regulator's notice. India may adopt a China-like strategy for its oil reserves. Refiners could be required to hold significantly more crude oil. This move aims to protect the nation from future supply shocks. The proposal is in its early stages. Refiners might face substantial costs for storage and oil purchases. This policy could bolster India's energy security. Amazon is in its most aggressive expansion phase in India, with plans to invest $35 billion by 2030 on top of the $40 billion already committed. The company is ramping up investments in e-commerce, AI, exports and quick commerce through Amazon Now, while targeting 100 cities and 1,000 micro-fulfillment centers. The SEBI has issued a circular allowing alternative investment funds or AIFs and venture capital funds to retain funds beyond fund life under specific circumstances. This addresses bottlenecks where funds cannot close because of locked-up capital due to unfavorable circumstances such as disputes, tax claims, or ongoing wind-up costs. The circular, which comes into immediate effect, follows the regulator's notification in April to provide such flexibilities to AIFs. There are 3 conditions specified by the regulator for both AIFs and venture capital funds. Of at least one needs to be met for retaining funds beyond expiry. These include providing demonstrable receipt of litigation notice or demand by the funds that indicates a potential tax, regulatory or legal liability. Another condition that allows them to retain funds is to obtain at least 75% of the investors in terms of the value of their investment in the scheme due to anticipated liabilities from litigation or tax demand. The third one is through the substantiation of amounts retained for meeting residual winding up related operational expenses incurred in previous years as per the circular. The Reserve Bank of India has issued new master directions on authorization to operate a payment system. The directions, released on 15th June 2026, consolidate several existing circulars and guidelines into a single comprehensive framework, providing greater clarity and reducing compliance complexity for payment system operators or PSOs. Approximately $26 billion in shares from 71 recently listed companies will become available for sale as IPO lock-ins expire between June 17th and September end. This potential supply overhang could impact stock prices, with $15.96 billion across 31 companies becoming eligible for sale in the next month alone. Global investment firm KKR is in advanced discussions to acquire a significant stake in Medicover's Indian hospital operations. The deal is valued at over $1 billion. Medicover, a Swedish healthcare group, confirmed these talks. This potential acquisition marks a substantial expansion for KKR in India's growing healthcare sector. India is in talks with the World Bank and Asian Development Bank for substantial funding. This financial support aims to boost urban infrastructure and create jobs. The loans will help New Delhi manage its budget after increased spending on subsidies. The government plans to upgrade infrastructure and urban renewal projects. Private equity firm KKR is investing an additional $1.4 billion in aircraft leasing through its partnership with Altair. This move comes as persistent supply shortages from Airbus and Boeing continue to constrain aircraft availability. The firm aims to acquire aircraft directly from airlines and manufacturers, focusing on long-term leases with established carriers to generate predictable cash flows. The National Stock Exchange of India has filed draft papers for its initial public offering. This move positions NSE for one of the country's major IPOs this year. It follows a previous attempt in 2016 that was delayed. NSE is India's largest stock exchange and a leading global derivatives market. This listing is highly anticipated. India's central bank is not looking to enable direct settlement of government securities via offshore settlement platforms like Euroclear, one of the world's largest security settlement systems, despite recent tax changes aimed at attracting foreign investors. The Reserve Bank of India wants overseas investors to participate directly on the domestic negotiated dealing system order matching or NDSOM platform, an electronic system for secondary market trading in government bonds. Despite tax now being scrapped, the central bank still prefers settlement via the local clearing corporation due to better price discovery and ease of buying and selling. India is set to launch a new incentive scheme to boost local manufacturing of advanced cell battery components. This initiative aims to reduce import dependence for crucial materials like cathode and anode active materials, electrolyzers, and copper foil separators. The scheme, with an estimated Rs 12,000 crore allocation, will encourage domestic production and supply chain development. Reliance Industries is charting a unique AI strategy aiming to democratize artificial intelligence in India by focusing on affordability and accessibility rather than solely on developing advanced models. The company is building a sovereign AI infrastructure and a suite of sector-specific AI platforms mirroring its successful Geo-Telecom playbook to make AI a widely available utility for millions of Indians. Securities and Exchange Board of India, or SEBI, has given the green light to reintroduce open market buybacks for companies effective August 1st. This new route allows firms to repurchase shares directly from stock exchanges, a mechanism previously discontinued. The move aims to offer a more efficient and equitable way for companies to return capital to shareholders, complementing existing tender offer methods. Reliance Jio has filed its draft red herring prospectus with SEBI for an IPO, planning to issue 27 crore shares. The company intends to use all IPO proceeds to repay debt, with remaining funds allocated for general corporate purposes. Mukesh Ambani stated that the listing will unlock significant investor value. Reliance Industries is set to reinvent its oil to chemicals business. The company will convert crude oil into advanced materials and green chemicals. This strategy aims to create new revenue streams and reduce exposure to global energy market volatility. Reliance is committed to ensuring India's energy security by future-proofing its legacy business and building new growth engines. India's beauty and personal care market is set for a significant surge, projected to hit $39 billion by 2030. Flipkart's report reveals a shift from luxury to daily essential, with Gen Z driving growth and demand expanding beyond metros. Hyperlocal needs are shaping product preferences, indicating a democratized and evolving beauty landscape across the nation. Aleta Planet, a Singapore fintech firm, is set to enter the Indian market. The company will provide infrastructure for Visa debit cards, enabling quick launches for partners. Aleta also plans to introduce exclusive Sanrio-themed Visa debit and prepaid cards. These collectible cards, featuring popular characters, aim to attract a wide audience. Indian IT majors faced a brutal sell-off, losing Rs 1.35 lakh crore after Accenture's revenue guidance cut. Structural fears around AI replacing traditional services with geopolitical headwinds are deepening the sector's pain. Analysts anticipate further moderation and a shift towards M&A and new client acquisition to counter slowing growth. Jio Platform's upcoming IPO is priced at a premium, reflecting its market leadership and advanced 4G 5G network. Despite smaller revenues than global giants, Jio commands a higher valuation. The company plans to raise over $4 billion with an anticipated market cap of Rs 12 to 14 lakh crore. While Jio shows strong customer growth and data traffic, Bharti Airtel leads in ARPU and profitability margins. Major Indian banks including SBI, Axis Bank and Bank of Baroda, alongside Power Finance Corporation, are set to raise over $2 billion from overseas markets next week. This move capitalizes on the Reserve Bank of India's 1.5% fixed rate swap incentive for external commercial borrowings aimed at bolstering the rupee. HDFC Bank's recent successful dollar bond sale has spurred this wave of fundraising. Consumer goods giant Unilever is partnering with consulting firm Accenture to scale the use of AI-enabled digital twins across its global manufacturing network as companies increasingly deploy artificial intelligence to improve efficiency, quality, and sustainability in factory operations. The multi-year program will see Unilever build more than 40 new digital twins over the next 18 months, creating a blueprint for wider deployment across its factories worldwide. Digital twins are virtual replicas of factory equipment and production lines that use live data from physical systems to monitor, simulate, and predict performance. Reliance Jio is reportedly planning a massive 1,600 satellite low Earth orbit constellation, aiming for direct-to-device connectivity and extending its telecom dominance into space. This ambitious project, potentially costing $10 to $15 billion, seeks to bolster India's digital sovereignty and reduce reliance on foreign infrastructure, positioning Jio as a major global player. The Reserve Bank of India, or RBI, has amended the interest rate on deposits directions applicable to various categories of banks, providing temporary regulatory relief on interest rate prescriptions for certain NRE and FCNRB deposits. The relaxation is aimed at encouraging mobilization of foreign currency and non-resident deposits. The RBI has temporarily withdrawn the existing restriction on interest rates applicable to fresh non-resident external deposits with a tenor of 3 years and above. During the relaxation periods, banks will have greater flexibility in determining the interest rates offered on eligible NRE deposits. The amendment also withdraws the existing ceiling on interest rates applicable to fresh foreign currency non-resident bank deposits or FCNRB deposits having tenors of 3 to 5 years. This allows banks to offer interest rates without being constrained by the earlier regulatory ceiling for the specified deposit category. The temporary relaxation shall remain in force from 17th June 2026 to 30th September 2026. The benefit is available only for fresh eligible deposits mobilized during this period. Tokenized gold is emerging as a new investment option in India. It uses blockchain to represent physical gold digitally. Investors can trade tokens easily, even in small amounts. However, this new product lacks regulation and faces high taxes. Experts advise caution and suggest it as an experimental investment. This podcast is sponsored by Sound of CA. We share because we care. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.